6:33. I'd like to call this meeting to order, the Advisory Neighborhood Commission 4D. Today is Wednesday, February 19th. Thank you everyone for joining us for this hybrid meeting. Let's go ahead and start with a roll call. Commissioner Dimitrov.
All right, when I call your apologies, but now you're gonna have to. There you go. So when I call your name, commissioners, please indicate present if you're present. And, Commissioner Costin Ruta.
Present.
Commissioner Abel.
Present.
He was present. He was present.
Oh, you couldn't hear me. I was present.
I hear him say something.
We hear you. Thank you, Commissioner.
That's good enough. Commissioner Blewett.
Present.
Commissioner Kava.
Also present.
Commissioner Marinsek.
Present.
Commissioner Dimitrov's here. Present. Commissioner Baker.
Is present.
and
Here.
Commissioner
Present.
Kaufman.
Present.
Right.
Seeing that we have a quorum, I'd like to move to approval of the agenda. I'd like to move by unanimous consent. We approve the agenda. Are there any objections? Okay, so approved by unanimous consent. The next item is the approval of the January 2025 minutes, meeting minutes. Unless there are any objections, I'd like to move that by unanimous consent, we approve those minutes. Are there any objections? I'm looking at the screen, just make sure there's amazing. Okay, I move that we, by unanimous consent, those minutes are approved. Commissioner Baker, for the treasurer's reports. Can you give us 1 minute to just set up the sound on a computer so that others can hear you for this part? 1 second. Okay, I'm going to turn up the sound really loudly. Okay. Ready? You have to go with mute. Okay, ready. Okay, Commissioner Baker, we're ready for you. Thank you.
Awesome. Good evening. In terms of the Q1 report, it is actually still under reconciliation, but in terms of the last month for January, we have an ending balance of $18,412.68. And that includes 2 transactions, one related to, I believe, a program payment made to Green Spaces for DC, and the other is looks like a vendor that we used in order to support our efforts to outreach and management of this ANC for a total of $55.12. Any questions?
Commissioner Baker, I think that we have a question from Commissioner. Give us 1 second.
Thank you. This is Commissioner Kava. I hadn't heard about a vendor for outreach before, and I wonder if we can just, what is the name of that vendor and what are they doing for us? Does anyone know?
Constant Contact. I believe it's related
it.
to our email outreach efforts.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Both transactions are previous approvals were approved by the previous commission. These are not necessarily transactions that were approved under this new commission. Any other questions? I don't hear or see any. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baker. And thank you for bearing with us. Now we'd like to invite comments from city officials. Normally we have, let's see here, either folks on Zoom or folks on the phone or in person. Let's start with Commissioner Lewis George's office.
Yes, this is, can you hear me? I'm online.
We can hear you. Hi, Ms. Fred.
Hello, hello. Good evening, 4D commissioners as well as the community. I actually only have a few updates. We'll start with performance oversight hearings. I know that most of us know that the oversight hearings have been happening this month and they will go throughout February. Every year, these hearings are an opportunity to speak directly to agencies and discuss areas of improvement for services that they provide to us as DC residents. Anyone is eligible to testify. I'm going to put the link in the chat. You can also check out our latest newsletter for guidance on, how you testify, prepare, deliver testimony, and finally, how you submit it. Listen as we climb. Listening as we climb is we go into different communities and the council member will talk to a community about maybe what legislation they would like for her to focus on, and also budget priorities. So we do want to thank those neighbors who have joined us in our previous sessions. We actually have 3 left, and one of them will be a virtual session. So if you didn't get to come to the one in your neighborhood, you're welcome to come to the remaining 2. Both of them will be on Saturday. One will be in the Chevy Chase neighborhood, and then we'll be in the Lamont Riggs South Manor Park neighborhood. Again, both happening on Saturday. The one in Chevy Chase is from 10 a.m. to noon. And then we head over to the Lamont Riggs Library for
What's wrong?
and
What's wrong?
that
What's she looking like?
starts from 2 to 4. Reimagining Georgia Avenue. As we continue to build vibrant and healthy communities together in this new year, Councilmember Lewis George has announced this new initiative to reimagine strategies to support our Georgia Avenue businesses, community spaces, and to create a thriving Georgia Avenue for generations to come. I think those of us that have lived here for many, many years may remember Georgia Avenue used to be a very vibrant corridor, and the council member wants to focus on that. So I will put the link in the chat. Right now, there's a survey that you can fill out. And if you want to join this committee, you can send an email to Candace Nelson at cnelson@dccouncil.gov. I will put that in the chat as well. Finally, we also have started a Ward 4 volunteer corps. So if you're looking for a way to get involved in serving our community, we invite neighbors to join this volunteer corps. We can always use extra hands when we have events in the community, like Listen as We Climb. We'll be doing Ward 4 Care Days this summer and fall. We also share requests to connect residents with meaningful opportunities to lend a hand to her. We had some volunteers that went out last week, the last snow we had, to shovel out some seniors. So please think about joining us. And again, just always being a good neighbor. I will put that link in the chat as well. Just want to go over some upcoming events, community events. On Saturday, the 22nd, at McFarland School, and I bet you Leticia was going to cover this. It'll be a community roll-off at 10 a.m. This is where neighbors will have an opportunity to dispose of covered electric equipment, including TVs, computers, bulk trash, and other waste. And then on Monday, February 24th, from 9 to 11, the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority will be hosting a senior breakfast from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And just in closing, to let you know, we do Ward 4 office hours every Wednesday. We're at Fort Stevens Recreation Center from 12 to 1, followed by Hattie Holmes Wellness Center from 1:30 to 2:30. And then if you don't get our newsletter, you can sign up. I'll put the link in our chat. Our newsletter goes out every Friday afternoon. And then this is the last thing. We want to talk about Immigration Defense Hotline. There have been fears growing in our communities around the country, and that there will be potential raids by ICE. So we just want to give information that we have that you can call the Virginia Immigration Rapid Response Hotline. I'll put that information in the chat to receive legal resources and assistance. That's all I have. Thank you all so much for having me, and I'm happy to take any questions. I got a lot to put in the chat.
Are there any questions? And just to make sure I'm recapping this, we're doing this a little bit virtual and in person kind of liaising here. Ms. Rogers, you talked about the Immigration Defense Hotline. You talked about the upcoming event at McFarland. You talked about encouraging folks to testify at City Council. You talked about the 3 remaining, I believe, Listen as We Climb events. And all of these items are going to be in the chat, and we can also put them into the agenda afterwards.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we have a hand from.
Okay.
Commissioner Baker.
Thank you. Commissioner Baker.
Yes, thank you so much for those updates, Ms. Rogers. For the Listen as We Climb event that is going to be virtual, is that
Yes.
also on Saturday? I know you mentioned Chevy Chase and Lamont Riggs were going to be this Saturday. Is that also on Saturday as well?
No, that one is actually on the 26th.
Okay, thank you.
So
I
we
look
will
forward
be
to that.
sending, we'll include that information in our next newsletter, and we'll, of course, email all the commissioners with the link.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Commissioner Morensik.
Hello, hi Miss Barbara Rogers. Good to see you
Hello.
virtually again. I
Yes,
just
how are
want
you?
to, I'm doing well. I just want to focus more. Once again, it's getting to the time of year where we're seeing a lot of people sitting out at the shopping center on New Hampshire between Farragut and Gallatin. And I've had some constituents raise concerns about safety and trash. So I just want to put that back on your radar. And I'll reach out to you via email about that again, but I just want to make sure that that stays a focus point for public safety.
I will. And I do want to say it has been on my radar, and we are actually trying to reach out to some agencies to see what we might be able to do with that space to make it more for the community. So it's definitely on our radar, and I do thank you so much for bringing it up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers. And if you can actually keep me abreast of that as well, since that abuts, I believe it's in or abuts my SMD.
Great.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. I want to move over to the Mayor's Office for Community Relations, Ms. Acosta.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Leticia Acosta. As Ms. Barbara mentioned, we are having a roll-off this weekend at McFarland. I did send it to the ANC, the flyer, because we're also having one during the summer. It was a flyer out so individuals in the community can know where we having a roll-off. Sometimes we do have them in other neighborhoods as well. Um, and for other than that, the only other thing I have is remember summer youth employment is still open. So for those individuals who have children or know any children that need a summer job, to make sure you register them. Other than that, I know that there is still a lot of Christmas trees around the neighborhood. So if you guys have any pending 311 requests, please let me know so we could assist and upload that to DPW.
I know that the holiday trees are pickup happens as a regular part. So I think, Ms. Acosta, what you're saying is that we should actually file separate 311 tickets to request anything that's remaining to make sure it gets picked up and forward those to you just to make sure that you can help advocate for.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Oh, so sorry. Let me go to Commissioner Morensik, and then we have a community question for you.
Hello, thank you. I just want to highlight, along with the Christmas tree pickup, also leaf pickup. I know the third sweep is supposed to be happening, but I've had constituents along the New Hampshire Avenue corridor who are still waiting for the first pass, and they've had leaves for quite a while now. So I'll send you the 311 requests that I've submitted for that, as well as some alley cleaning. I know the alley along 4th Street has had some serious issues, so I'll send you those as well.
And also let me know the exact street if they for the leaf collection, because I could make sure to email the supervisor and also be in contact with the leaf collection supervisor for Ward 4.
Yeah, shut the, hold on, let me, hold on.
And also if there is, I know some of our alleys have a lot of illegal dumping. I did sweep Ward SMD 4D this week, and I seen a lot of illegal dumping, and I did upline it to DPW. So if you guys do see anything around your neighborhood, let me know so I could also let them know.
Thank you for that.
That's Hi, Ms. Acosta. This is Eliza Cava from 4D04. I definitely wanted to follow up with that. I have two constituents on who, Miss Zilla Jackson, who lives right near the Lorenzo Allen Park, just sent me some pictures today of some overflowing trash cans and some other dumping issues there, which, as we know, is chronic. And then Sharon Johnson, another of my constituents, is still working on getting this commercial vehicle with out-of-state tags, and she submitted a many 311 requests. I can flag those numbers for you so that we can keep following up, but this vehicle comes and goes, but stays illegally parked for a couple days at a time.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And we have a question from a constituent. Can you give me a second while I give the microphone to them?
I'll go last.
Go
ahead. Thank you. This is Bill Hassan speaking, and I'd just like to congratulate you on your rapid response to the two vacant houses on Ingraham Street, 417 and 413, and the ability of people trying to break in, and you're bringing attention to that. So thank you very much. And there have been some new developments that I will relay to you as of today about 413.
Thank you for always working with us. I know if you guys know Dr. Hassan, he is very when it comes to his neighborhood, he's very honest. So he does communicate with me often when there's some concerns in his neighborhood, and just making sure that we're working together and listening to the residents' concern.
Down absolutely with the best record in the East, of course. Alex Ovechkin is kind of retention.
I have a question if that's appropriate for now.
We have a question ahead of you, and you will go next, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Acosta. I've had constituents complain about this car repair activity going on at the AutoZone, and I have sent a few emails. So I was just hoping to put that back on your radar because as the weather gets warmer, it seems to get, the activity ramps up and they are polluting, dumping, fluids and stuff like that. So it would be in our all collective best interest if we could put an end to that. So I can bump that email so it'll be at the top of your inbox. But yeah, it would be great if we could I could report back to my constituent and saying that we've done something about it. Thank you.
Good evening. I have just one thing to add to what was already discussed about Lorenzo Park. Is your office the correct office to find out about the trees, the pictures I sent earlier today, the trees that are down? They're putting trees everywhere else but where the trees are down, which I think is kind of interesting. Like they put a tree in front of somebody's house the other day, but the tree that's right at the park that's fallen down and the other one is dead. They're not replacing those trees. And the one that, so I like to know, how do we find out about the trees and who do we call? And also about the grant that we understand that was awarded for us to get some upgrades to the park, Lorenzo Allen Park.
I know that Mr. Christopher Dyer is on he's in person. I know he is with DPR, so he's also, if he's listening, he could also take a note because some of the park are DPR and DGS. So what we could do is come together and put an email together so both could be aware of the upkeep of the park.
Yeah, particularly because it's getting ready to be springtime in a minute, and it just hasn't, I know the weather has been kind of bad, but there's some things, particularly about the money that was awarded. I have tried to reach out and I don't know like where that money is or how to get that or what the status is. And when I first was on one of the meetings, they said that work would be completed, I think February or March. And we're getting ready to be ending in February now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. And we actually do have Christopher Dreyer here from DPR. So I'm going to have him speak on this tablet or this.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Yep, 1 second.
So, excuse me,
So we'll get the deck.
okay,
Back.
cool. Are you, this is my, okay.
Go ahead and sit down.
I'm on? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, and I'll look forward to the question. I'll have you up. Oh, there I am. This is very exciting. I did not
Go ahead,
realize.
Go ahead, sit down. That way
Okay.
folks can see you as well.
Okay, good. So guys, I didn't realize I wasn't quite paying attention. I realized this is hybrid, which means it's in person. Commissioners, nice to meet you all. And I always prefer being in person, because I don't have to worry about uploading a Zoom slide deck or anything like that. So I apologize that I wasn't here at the beginning to meet you guys before the meeting. And I also apologize that I don't have the wonderful, fantastic handouts that I usually do, but it's very exciting. And so once the slide deck is up, I will go.
Need a second.
Okay,
Sorry.
then I'll vamp a little. So my name is Christopher Dyer. I'm the Community Engagement Manager for the DC Department of Parks and Recreation. My primary role is to be the liaison between the ANCs, civic associations, and other engaged residents. I'm also now your liaison since you see me in a community meeting. Thank you all for coming to this meeting. I also happen to be an ANC commissioner myself. I lost a bet a couple of years ago. No, I'm kidding. So I'm serving my 4th term, second non-consecutive. So I really value the work that the ANCs do. And I also value the fact that some of you are out here on a really warm night, the opposite of warm, to come in. Also, for those of you at home, I really appreciate your civic engagement. And I want to congratulate you and acknowledge you for that. Where are we at? Not quite yet.
Right here.
Excellent. And I also have my slide deck in front of me on my smartphone. This new technology, let me tell you. I grew up in this, I've been around for a while. I grew up in the 70s. And so for us, text messaging was literally writing a note and handing it to someone. So, well, yeah, better. I never had a beeper, but I'm very excited. So anyway, for those of you who don't know, DPR is there we are. Cool. If you could do it in view, obviously.
Go to view. Where else? There we go.
You want to present?
Yeah, or just go to view and then reading. There we go. Good, cool. Awesome. Next slide, please. Okay, so DPR is the #1 parked rank system in the country. We're very excited about that. We host programming and events year-round in 244 sites across 900 acres of green space in all 8 wards. And we have annually up to 100 plus different capital improvement projects in the construction pipeline to support the district's park systems, including one here in 4D, which I'm sure I'll get a question about. Next slide, please. So here are basically 4 websites that you need to know. And for those of you at home, if you're going to memorize one website, it's going to be dprprograms.com, because that's the website that drives all of the registration for our fantastic programs. Also, I wanted to point out DPR is where the fun happens. So I'm very excited to be here. DPR.events also has a list of all the special events that are happening across this in our like there. If you've been on, you would notice that like on the 17th, we had the NSO Symphony at Lamont. So go to dpr.events, and just to keep an eye about what's going on, dpr.dc, also at dpr.events, you can sign up to get our e-blasts. I know everyone just loves getting email, but ours are really fun. So we encourage you to sign up for that as well. dpr.dc.gov/locations gives you a list of all the locations of DPR. So in case you are in Ward 7 and you want to find out where your nearest rec center is, just go and do that. Here in 4D, you could also do that as well. I think your closest though is Emory, which is one of our bigger website, bigger rec sites. And dpr.dc.gov/permits is where to go to apply for a permit. Next slide, please. As we said, DPR Programs is one of the major sites. Next slide. We do registration. We do programming in 4 seasons, all 4 seasons. Registration for the spring season will start on March 11th for all of our aquatics programs. And if you've never tried to sign up for a DPR aquatics program before, we encourage you to be online at 11:55 a.m. on the 11th, and then you'll be entered into a waiting room, and then hopefully you'll be enrolled in a class. Our aquatics programs, we are well aware that they're incredibly popular and that they do sell out quickly. So we encourage you, if you have not already done so a couple of days in advance, make sure your DPR RecTrack account is up to date, because that's usually a thing that is a trip hazard. So go to dprprograms.com and make sure everything's square. And I think that we begin to start advertising our spring sessions, if not next week, as close to next week as possible. And so you'll see what's going on. So we do offer a reduced rate also. This is something that is very popular. We do offer on fee-based programs for qualified families. You get a 50 to 75% discount depending on income level. The application approval is good for the entire calendar year. So if you do it once, it's good for the entire year. For programs that offer reduced rates, including summer camp, visit dprprograms.com for more information and a complete application. Next slide, please. I know you're thinking it's, the polar vortex. Why are we talking about summer? Because summer camp is a very, very popular thing. We are in the process of having our summer camp lottery right now. It started on Valentine's Day, our little present to you. Go to dprsummercamp.com to see all of the programs that are being offered, all the summer camps that we're offering, and also to participate in our lottery. You do have some time. The deadline, summer camp lottery closes on March 3rd. However, I strongly encourage you to get in there a little bit before March 3rd, just to make sure that your accounts, everything's great and everything's up to speed, and that we can address, that we can take care of things. And again, when you go home tonight, make sure you check your DPR account. That's usually the biggest trip hazard in getting signed up. On March 4th, the summer camp lottery notifications will begin. So we'll run the lottery on the 3rd, and you'll start getting emails on the 4th. Also, make sure you check your spam, because sometimes it comes from an email address that is not always traditional. And also, Google has a really wonderful habit of putting things in different folders. So that's another sort of, so I'm sure you all are very aware, because we've done email before. So next slide. Permits, very simple. DPR requires a permit for any organized picnic or activity of 10 or more participants. Go to dpr.dc.gov/permits or call 202-673-7647 for complete information on how to get a permit for your special event and program. Pro tip, if you do not see the park listed, because some of our smaller parks are not listed in our permit system, fill out a special event request. If you don't see your park. Also, we do have we do like you to get in there a couple of days, at least 3 weeks, give us 3 weeks, up to 3 weeks in advance to process your permit. We get about 10,000 or 15,000 permit applications a year is what I've heard. So we're quite, it's quite a busy process. Next slide. Another thing, and this is a game changer for me. For those of you who do not know, the Department of General Services is responsible for the maintenance and construction of all of our parks and facilities. So if you are at one of our parks and you see something that needs to be addressed, we would love it if you could submit a 311 ticket through DGS. If you see a trash can that's overflowing, take a picture, open a 311 ticket. Interesting, fun thing for you. The brown trash cans are actually DPW responsibility. And the blue trash cans, the recycling trash cans, are DGS's responsibility. I don't know why, but that's one of the things that I love. A little bit of tidbit I love sharing when I go to these community meetings. Again, also for commissioners, if you see something and you've submitted a 311 ticket, feel free to send me an email as well, and I can track to see if it's gotten into the system. But we really encourage folks to use 311 because DGS is on top of things. Next slide, please. That's it. This is my contact information. I'm Christopher Dyer. I can be reached by cell at 202-702-9453. I can also be reached by email at christopher.dyer@dc.gov. I'm usually answering my phone up until 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night. But if you need me to do something, please email me. And if it requires maintenance, please include a picture. A picture really is worth 1,000 words. So I would greatly appreciate it. And commissioners, again, thank you for your service, especially for the pay we get, which is none. And I look forward to working with you guys and answering any questions and trying to be as responsive as I can. And thanks for those of you at home. Hope you're enjoying the home. And thanks to you folks who are here in person. So I now will answer any questions the community might have.
Just wanted to see if there's any questions from the commissioners. Okay, let me put myself on mute.
Okay, this is Commissioner Cava. Mr. Chris, hello. As a parent of elementary school age children, I have played the odds on summer camp, aquatics registration, after school programs, you name it. It's so frustrating to be caught in the system and have a technology glitch and then it's gone, the registration you want. But the lottery for summer camp we did last year, and it was much less stressful than trying to get the aquatics registration. Are you going to move to a lottery system for aquatics and other high demand things?
We keep thinking about it. I know that, and I appreciate that especially for aquatics, because what happens is even though you're in the system, if something goes sideways, because there's such a demand, someone might just swoop in. It's sort of like going on Ticketmaster to get Taylor Swift concert tickets. And so, I will pass that on. I think that we do want to go into, I do think we might be moving towards the lottery for this. I've heard, we've gotten feedback about it, but we're still trying to sort of make sure that we can, that we can do the lottery. This is our 3rd year doing the lottery. We've ironed out most of the kinks about that, and I will pass that on as a suggestion to go for our aquatics program, especially our aquatics programs and our gymnastics programs are incredibly high demand. We can look into doing that.
It's less stress. The lottery was way less stressful for me than trying to get in at the right time for the aquatics.
Absolutely.
But also, of course, I have the ability to be sitting at my desk in front of my computer at 10 o'clock on a weekday, and there's a whole universe of people that can't do that.
No.
And so I think it's a major equity issue.
Absolutely, Commissioner, and I will pass that on. I just, the question is going to be, operationally when we're able to do it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We have a question from here at the school, and then I will go to you, Ms. Jackson. Give me 1 second, please.
Yeah, I just want to say that having been involved in the building of 4 recreation centers in the District of Columbia, the newest one on McMillan Reservoir, the aquatic, I really highly recommend that for individuals and families, and including children. So that's one of the newer ones that I think that you want to give a lot of attention to. Thank you.
Just reopened the Joy Evans Therapeutic Rec Center. I know it's a little bit farther away for some of you, but if you get a chance, go over and take a look. It's spectacular. We've been very fortunate. We also did a new rec center at Stead. We're also in the process with Emory in the next few years of renovating Emory. In fact, if you're at home and you want to get on the stakeholder list to get updates about that project, you can go to dpr.dc.gov/stakeholder and sign up to get updates on that project, because we're, it's a once in a 15 or 20 year process to redo an entire and re-envision a rec center. And we really encourage community input and feedback. So thank you.
Emory has a very special thing for me in building the original Emory. It used to be a station that Abraham Lincoln used for getting messages from downtown. We had to go through a lot of things about getting permission to build on that hallowed ground, as well as the last mayor of Washington, D.C., Mayor Emory, had a house on top of that property.
See, that is something I did not know. So I appreciate that history.
Miss Jackson, you're gonna have to be the final question, since we're short on time. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I just have a couple questions. When you talked about the permits for the park, is there a cap on how many people can be at certain activities for the park? Because I know that we have a lot of issues at our park when it comes to the 4th of July and people's birthday parties and people putting tents up, and they say they get permits. So you on mute. Okay.
Depending on what park you're in, it's highly.
Lorenzo Allen Park, Illinois Avenue Northwest.
Okay, Lorenzo. Okay. They claim they might have permits. It might be unlikely that they do. I do not know. I know that's a surprise to everyone. And I don't mean to make light of it, but we do have a lot of what I call rogue park users, which is fine, by the way, but we really encourage you to get a permit. I don't know if there's a specific capacity on Lorenzo Allen. I know that there are some specific room capacities at our rec centers, obviously, because you have fire codes. But I do know that if you apply for a special request permit, we do vet it if we get the permit application. Also, if there's amplified sound for activity, we do vet it, and we do provide notice to the ANC commissioners that there's amplified sound. But, Ms. Jackson, feel free to ding me directly after this meeting, and I'll check to see if we have a capacity specifically for Lorenzo Allen.
I sure will. And it'll come from, Jackson is my maiden name, so I'm Zilla Jackson Wesley.
Whenever it comes.
Okay, so I'll send it tonight.
You can send smoke signals. I'll still respond.
Yeah, 'cause I have a couple more things. Thank you so much.
All right.
We actually are, we're short on time.
Sorry.
Sorry, Miss West, I'm so sorry, and I couldn't see that, your second last name.
It's
we
okay.
Connect with you offline, with Mr. Dyer, because I want to make sure that your questions are heard. And so I'll make sure that you have his email address, and if you want to put your email address in the chat, that way we can make sure we connect you all.
Yeah, because it's really a issue with our neighbors trying to do the right thing, and we can't get the cooperation we need. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for visiting us.
No, thank you for letting me take much more time on your agenda than you allow. I really appreciate it. And I always like trying to come in person. So I appreciate that you're in person. Feel free to email me, text me. And again, thank you for your time and your engagement. And I will see you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And next on our agenda, and I am so sorry, I'm going to have to be a stickler on time, especially in light of the technology hiccups that we've had, et cetera, but we have a packed agenda. DC Water, I want to see if our representative from DC Water is on.
He's right there.
Oh, hello. Hi. I didn't see you sneak in. Okay. I don't know if you caught this, but our hybrid setup, our sound's not working. So we're just, what you can do is you can sit here and just, did you have a deck that you wanted to?
I sent one, but I can do it without.
Oh.
Huh. Okay. We didn't see that, but we will get that up. Give us 1 second.
So your name is Sean.
SPAN4 MOORE.
Go ahead. Take a seat.
I know.
This one?
Yes. And I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'll go through it as quickly as I can. It's PDF. Either way, I can just run through it.
Let's
Right?
do this.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll just do it right quick. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Moore. I'm with DC Water's Lead-Free DC program. Just wanted to come by and give you all an update. I know I was here last year and just let you know how things are going. Next slide. So DC Water has 42,000 lead service lines that we're working to replace, as well as to identify all the material associated with our records. So as of yesterday, we have reached 7,789 service lines replaced. I think when I was here last time, we weren't at 7,000 yet. We were still in the 6,000. So we're definitely moving forward, and we continue to prioritize underserved communities and places with high numbers of lead service lines. Next. You can keep going. Keep going. We do have a new public dashboard. That's new since we came by. That's on dcwater.com/lead, and you can check our progress on the dashboard. Keep going. And of course, the big reason we do this is because lead is a powerful neurotoxin, and there's no safe level of lead. And we want to remove any potential sources of lead that would come from our water supply, which really is just in that pipe that's between the water main in the street and your home. And that's the service line, which may be made of lead. So that service line, I'll talk about that one. The service line has two parts. There's a public side and a private side. Homeowners responsible for everything on the private side. DC Water pays for the public side. Right now, we have special funding that allows us, through our Lead-Free DC program, to pay for work on private property, because of course we can't use ratepayer money to do that. So what I'm talking about here today is Lead-Free DC is we have free service line replacements. Next. We're focused on two types of pipe material: lead, of course, which contains lead, as well as galvanized pipes, which also can contain lead. That's just an example of a lead pipe. And then there's also what you galvanized pipe might use. In order for you to figure out if you have a lead service line, we have more tools on dcwater.com/lead. We have a construction dashboard, as well as our lead map, which you can put any address in the city into that map, and you can see what type of service line material that they have. All right. So we're working to replace service line in three ways. The first is capital improvements. I'm specifically here to talk about buy block. And with our buy block program, it's always free as a capital improvement program from DC Water. And we're doing free service line replacements. We also have a lead pipe replacement assistance program. It's our LPRAP program, and that's for folks who just have a lead service line on the private side, and they can get that replaced for free. And we also have a voluntary program. So if you don't want to wait for DC Water to get to you, you can always do it sooner, but you just have to pay for the work on the private side. This is just some photos of the construction. It takes 2 holes. We don't dig up your whole yard. We'll dig 2 holes, one at the property line, one at the water meter, and we'll use those 2 holes to remove and then install and replace your service line. So it's not a total tear up your yard. We work to minimize any work in your yard. Next. So where are we right now in 4D? We just selected 13 new blocks, which is why I came by to let you all know. That's 182 additional premises to the 1,074 that are already in the works, that are pending construction or under construction. So these are the list of the new blocks. I have provided this presentation, of course, to the ANC so that they can share it with you all, so you can see if you're one of those blocks. What do you need to do? If you receive information from us about signing up for Lead Free DC, please sign up. We can't do any work without that agreement, so we just need you to sign that agreement. And even if you don't have a lead pipe, but because it's a citywide effort, we'd ask for your support when people say, "Is this real?" Yes, it's real, and we want everyone to know this is a real thing and something that we're focused on correcting. All right. Everything, like I said, is on dcwater.com/lead. And on this last slide, you'll see my contact information as well as the contact information for our lead hotline. You can reach out to lead@dcwater.com, or you can call our lead hotline at 202-787-4044. If you want to talk to me or have questions directly for me, you can reach me at 787-4049 or sean.moore@dcwater.com. Thank you very much. And if any questions, I'd be happy to take those.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. I just want to see if there's any questions from the commissioners first before we have one question here in the school. Let's see.
I have a quick question. I love the work that you guys are doing. I took advantage of it a few years ago when it wasn't free. And I've been publicizing it across the board, and everyone loved it. One question that kind of sits on the table: who's responsible for repaving the street after you're done with the work?
So DC Water is, our contractor who does the work is responsible for the restoration after construction. That typically we try to wait for everyone who's on the block to within a reasonable amount of time to give them the opportunity to get their sign replaced before we close that block and move on to other parts of the city. So we try to keep a block open for 4 to 6 weeks, but just to give everyone a chance to get theirs replaced. But if people aren't receptive, we do move forward and we will go ahead and do final paving. Now, of course, with paving, that also is weather dependent because we can't do final pavement when the asphalt plants are closed. So there's, paving happens in the spring and summer, early fall. So if we do work now, it's going to be a little while before we can do a full final restoration, simply because there's a paving season that we have to work around.
Thank you. And there is a question from
Commissioner Morenza?
Yeah, I just want to also, I didn't
Hold
see
on
you.
1 second. Apologies. Can you hear? Sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear you, or I missed it if you highlighted the DC Water Test Program, the lead test program, where you can take samples of your water, have it sent to the lab for free, and it gets tested, and they'll send you the results back. I've used it, I've had neighbors use it, and family use it. It's a great program. So encourage people to do that.
Excellent. Yes, you can go on dcwater.com and request a water test for your home, and they'll bring that to you and send it to you, pick it up, and provide you with the results of the water quality test for your home, and that's free.
This is a quick comment. Sean, I think I had emailed and mentioned that some neighbors were not aware that if they thought that they would have to pay for any cost of holes to their walls, et cetera, et cetera. And can you explain actually what happens?
So when we do the service line replacement, our contractors who do the work, they will replace or fix whatever we tear up. So we want to leave it as good or better than we found it. So if we have to cut the drywall, we'll repair the drywall. If we have to dig a hole, we're going to, of course, put that dirt back in it, fill it, tamp it, and put either seed or sod, just depending on the time of year. So whatever we do in terms of how it impacts your yard, we're going to put it back.
Thank you. We have a question here from here inside. Just 1 second.
I was here last year when you were here. I signed up for the program. I had the inspectors come to the house, and it was determined that I needed replacement. And I had a couple of contacts, and that that was the end of it. So I probably need to talk to you to find out where I am
Yes.
in the system.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So in that situation, you can always reach out to me, or you can check with our lead hotline, the 787-44044. Yep. So if not, then you just reach out to me, and then I'll work with you to get you an answer.
Sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it.
All right. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Are you sticking around or are you?
I'll be back.
And the more we can get the word out to neighbors, the quicker blocks can be prioritized. So just want to give a plug for that. Thank you for DC Water, for DCPR, Mokers, and Council Member Louis George's office for joining us. I want to ask that now we move on to commissioner announcements. We are running behind schedule, so if commissioners can keep them extremely brief. Do any commissioners have any announcements that they want to make? Okay. Hearing none, any on Zoom?
Oh.
Amazing. Okay, we're going to move. Let's see here. I see a hand, but right now we're on commissioner announcements. So I'm going to move on to the next item of the agenda. You can also message me though if you have a technical question. We have new business items that are the first item is regarding BZA 21271, which is regarding 5113 2nd Street Northwest, which is in 4D08, which is my commission. It is regarding constructing 2 additional dwelling units to an existing semi-detached 2-story with cellar 4-unit apartment home in the RA1 zone. This permit seeks special exemption from the new residential development standards of subtitle U, section 421. Wanted to, I've reviewed the plans. It would be the addition of 2 additional bedrooms to a small apartment unit, which would, I always am in support of the addition of new housing to Ward 4. Also have talked with neighbors about any concerns and impacts, and so have invited community members who are impacted to also join this conversation. So what is best to do is really to hear from the homeowners and the permit applicants. Want to see if they are online in order to share deck or share. Let's see here. Marty, are you speaking on behalf of the applicants?
Yes, my name is
You
Marty
are, okay.
Sullivan. Well, I am, but they're here as well. The property owner is here as well, if you have questions for her, and the architect as well.
Okay, whoever wants to make the presentation, you have 5 minutes to do so, and just want to hand the mic over to you for those 5 minutes regarding.
Thanks. Thank you. I think for efficiency's sake, I'll make the whole presentation, and then if anyone has questions for the owner or the architect, can I share my screen?
Presently, no. This is why we asked for it ahead of time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I did not know that. So, well, okay. So under U421, all new residential development requires BZA approval in the RA1 zone. And
I apologize, Mr. Sullivan.
yeah,
I just want to,
yes.
do you want to try? I don't know if you have right. You want to try and see if you can share. I don't think you have right.
Should I send a request? It says sharing's not turned on. Send a request.
Go ahead and allow it. And can you, everyone who is not speaking, if you can please mute yourselves. Politics, Mr. Sullivan. We're muting the other participants.
No surprise. There is an active branded first aid kit spring wrapped in package or open up and make fun of it. This is a nothing brand.
Can you please? Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Sullivan.
Okay, I got it. So, so the property is, it's 5113 2nd Street Northwest. It's an existing building in the RA1 zone. All new residential development requires this approval. Up until a few years ago, it wasn't required to get a special exception just to add units to an existing building, but it is now, even if you're just adding them in the basement. So there's no work being done to the exterior except for adding a couple window wells and just putting in 2 more units in the basement. So it's going from 4 units to 6 units. There's 4 parking spaces on the property. These are the requirements that the BZA looks at. It's not a difficult lift. We're not asking for anything beyond what the zoning regulations provide as far as area development standards. Here are the plans. There's the building there. So it's a semi-detached 4-unit building. There's an aerial view, and there you see the parking spaces back there. And I'll show the section floor plan. So there's 2 units being added down there in the basement. And I think I have some photos too. There's the rear of the property. Again, none of that's changing except for window wells going on the side of the property. And that's the property there. And that's it. That's all I have. If you have any questions for myself, Dagmawi Kabarakadan is the architect, and Benmet Ashet is here as well, the property owner.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Are there, and I wanted to allow for the property owner if there was anything that he wanted to add as well. Otherwise, we can proceed to move on in the agenda. Okay. So one question that I had, Mr. Sullivan, or for whomever, is the best person to answer this is, given the proximity of the unit to a major alleyway, one concern I always have is around rats and containment of food, especially with 2 additional units. What are you planning on doing in order to ensure that that's what 40% more, or not 40%, 30% more waste that potentially you'll be having? And so want to see what your plans are for kind of the extra waste management that the unit or that the building plans on having.
It looks like Benmet's on
Yeah.
here.
All right. First of all, thank you so much for giving us a platform to tell our plan. And I've also had an opportunity to meet some of the neighbors and express my plan. To answer your question, after the city only covers up to 4 units for trash disposal. After you pass the threshold for 4 units, you have to provide a private trash removal service. We already have a trash removal service in mind. We are speaking to different vendors to compare prices and quality of work and reviews. And they will be picking up the trash bi-weekly, both recycling and regular trash.
Thank you so much. I want to go ahead and open the floor up for community comments. I know that we have, are you okay? We do have speakers here who are in person. I'm going to go ahead and do the thing where I turn around the laptop, put myself on mute, and give them the mic. So give me 1 second to do that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jameson Harchar. I'm a neighbor. I actually own the property right behind your project. The garage that is, the side of the garage that faces the back of your property is our garage. One question I had was in the description of the proposed project. On your application, it says plan show trash bins adjacent to the parking area as well as roll-up doors along the alley to screen the parking spaces. I didn't see that on the drawing, but I see it mentioned here. Is that a change or is that just not drawn? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We recently updated the plan to have an open parking space in order to give our residents a more comfortable parking experience. So there will not be a door; it will be an open parking space, but there will be gates to protect our residential areas as well.
I see. So just to clarify, there's a gate. There is a gate by the parking, or it's beyond the parking and the parking space itself is open?
As of right now, there will be no gates behind the parking, but there will be a fence past the parking into the property that allows it into the compound. So the parking will be within the compound, but on the outer compound. So people don't have to have keys or anything like that in order to park, but they will just need to open a gate to get into their main space areas.
Understood. That was the only question I had. Just a few comments was, I know you talked about trash having it be picked up bi-weekly. It sounds great. We have had a real problem along that entire alley and all those properties back there with trash. They're all multiple units, 4 at least, now some now 6, and yours will be 6. Bi-weekly trash pickup sounds great. Doesn't always happen. Easy to say, I think less reliable it actually happens. Again, I'll say the most we can do to mitigate excess trash and the rats there, the better. I will say the north side of that property, your property along that fence line is a rat highway right now. It's really bad. DC can't really do anything about it because it's private property. I've tried to put some things out, it's kind of sort of works. So even while you're in, I know you're in a holding pattern now as you go through this and you still have a lot of construction to do, but anything that you could do to mitigate that on your side of the property would be really appreciated because again, it affects everybody in the area.
Absolutely, absolutely. I share the same concerns. As you know, I have to wait for a permit in order for things to move along. But when we are building window wells and the parking space, we will be renovating a lot of the areas. So hopefully with new cement and upkeeping of trash removal, it should address it on our part. But I'm always happy to have more open conversations around it. And if you have any concerns, I'm happy to give you my contact, so we can come with a better solution together and along with the community.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And I'm gonna go ahead and pass this to community comment. One thing I'm really interested in is if you all have any conversations and there's any agreements in writing, that is in particular helpful to me as we make our decision around the application. Rats are a big public health concern. And so, just being really clear about what will be in place. And if there's anything additional, like perhaps you can put cement perhaps underneath your trash cans to prevent rats from going up and chewing into those cans, that's going to be of deep interest to me. Just because it's already, a problem and just want to make sure we're not adding to it. But excited about the opportunity to see more units in the area and more housing. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to we have one more comment, and that's going to be the last one on this. Give me 1 second. Here you go.
Has the project been before the BZA, the Bureau of Zoning Administration yet?
You got it?
We have a hearing on April 9th. I believe,
Could you give me that time and date specifically so I can make note of it?
It's April 9th.
Okay.
It's the hearings start at 9:30. It's a Wednesday morning, and they're virtual hearings.
Yeah, I've been there many times.
And I have the information. I can write it down for you after.
And the other, I'll make a determination of whether I'm for or against this project. And secondly, are you going to have any solar panels on top of this building? Is that part of the plan?
we have not made any decisions surrounding that. We've recently gotten few offers, advertisements, but we haven't made a decision. But I would love to hear if that's something that would make it more useful for the community. I don't know enough about it as of right now.
Well, the reason that I say that, because you're blocking the people on the left side and the right side from ever getting solar panels as it relates to the municipal regulations on that. That's why I would have doubts about this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll do more research, and when there are updates, I'll make sure that's communicated.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone joining us, and it was really helpful to also see the deck. So I appreciate that. And we will be voting on this in the next meeting, which is on March 19th at 6:30. So thank you so much. I want to move forward to the next item of the agenda, which is a notice of intent regarding the 5300 block of First Street Northwest 4008. This is a proposed residential parking permit signage to be installed on the 5300 block of First Street. It is after a petition that had more than 50% of households signed in support. I have a proposed letter of support because it is reflective of the desire of the people who live on that block. It is, I think, kind of pretty standard, and that is, unless if there's any community comment from, I don't know if Mark is here. Want to give him a second. I don't think there is, but I want to go ahead and move on just because it is, in my mind, something that is reflective of the residents and therefore should move forward. With that, I want to go ahead and move it to Commissioner Cava to speak about a resolution.
Thank you. And okay. I wanted to check in. Is Chris Powell here from the Sierra Club and the 3RC Coalition?
I am
Yes,
here,
Chris is here.
Eliza.
Great. So I'll just start with a very brief introduction and then turn over to Chris, who will have 3 or 4 minutes to do your worst here on your presentation. But basically, I've drafted a resolution co-sponsored by Commissioner Morensik to support the recently introduced beverage container law. It's called a bottle bill. And so I think we're ready to vote on it at the end. And first, we're going to hear this short presentation from one of its big advocates. So go ahead, Chris, and thank you for joining.
Okay, and thank you, Commissioner Cava, for having me, and thank you, everyone. I do have to say I've been to a lot of meetings in my life, and you guys run a very efficient one. So, and I will make sure we stay on track. So, Eliza gave you the introduction. If we want to move to the next slide, I'm going to not go through this whole slideshow, but just a couple of the important ones. I think, as they say, a picture tells 1,000 words. The reason that we are very excited about this bottle return bill being introduced is because of the problem of all the trash throughout DC, and especially in the wards surrounding the Anacostia River. The majority of the trash that we see, of course, no surprise to any of you, is beverage containers, both plastic, glass, and aluminum beverage containers. Next slide. So where we are, well, I will give you a little background. So the 3RC Coalition, which is a group of environmental groups and other interested people, we've been at a lot of the cleanups along the Anacostia for the past several years. We've been really looking at what the trash really is. And again, as I just said, it's mostly beverage containers. So we reached out to other nationwide organizations to talk to them about how to address this issue and the success of bottle bills in other states. Then in discussion with Councilmember Nadeau, who, by the way, Councilmember Nadeau and Councilmember Fruman and I all grew up in Michigan with the bottle bill when we were young, and we know how it's really very effective of taking this trash off the streets and out of our waterways. So last month, Councilmember Nadeau introduced the bill, and she has 10 other co-sponsors, including your Councilmember Louis George. We only have one council member who has not signed on, so we think that is just really incredible. Speaks to the willingness and desire of all the council to try and address this pollution problem. Currently, the bill has been assigned to two committees. It's currently right now in the business committee. It will be there until July 14th. They may or may not hold hearings in that committee. And then on July 15th, it will move over to the Committee on Transportation and the Environment. Council will be on recess then. They will come back in September, and then we are expecting hearings to happen in the fall. So that is when all the members here tonight, the public, everyone is invited to come to those hearings. We'll learn more about the bill. It's a place to ask of a lot of our questions. And I'll just note in this slide, there are a lot of good links with backgrounds and FAQs. Next slide, please.
And you have a 1-minute warning here.
Okay, all right. So let's go to the next slide, because I really want to get to how this works. So for any of you not familiar with that, bottle return bills, you would pay a 10-cent deposit when you buy a beverage. Then you take that back, you redeem it at the local store or a redemption center. You will get your deposit back, so it will cost residents nothing. If residents decide not to do that and not to claim their deposit, it will go into a fund that will fund lead filters for district residents and water refill stations. And of course, you've heard a lot tonight about the problem with many households still having lead filters. It will be up to the beverage companies to pay the fees for the actual operation of the program. So again, that won't cost district residents any money. Next slide.
We're at time. Is there a final
Okay.
you'd like to leave us at?
I will leave it at that. I am available for questions, and I appreciate you hopefully supporting the resolution or supporting the legislation.
Well, we appreciate you speaking with us. Wanted to see if there was questions, comments from the commissioners before opening it up for Q&A. We have one. Give us 1 second, please.
Okay.
The question is procedurally, when you take the bottle back for your refund, do you also have to have a receipt verifying that you are in fact the person who bought the bottle? And the reason that I'm saying that, I've seen this happen in other cities. It becomes a bum's paradise looking for bottles to take for refund. Thank you.
And great question. Thank you. The answer to that is no, you don't. Each bottle will be stamped with a code that says it was purchased in DC. You can take that back, or someone else can take that back. I think what you are talking about is the term is called canners. And canners, if people do continue to throw some of these bottles in trash or recycling, canners come by, collect them, and then they can redeem them. And also you can, if community groups, schools, churches want to have fundraisers, you can take your bottles there and they can redeem them and keep that 10-cent deposit.
Do you want to say that?
No, I just wanted to say that I've been in other cities. Detroit is another one. And what happens is that, never mind. Thank you.
Oh, okay, and I grew up outside of Detroit, but you know, I think in most cities, the canners are really considered part of the program unofficially.
Are there any questions from community or from the commissioners?
This is Commissioner Morensic. I just want to say real quick that I think that's part of the benefit of the program is if individuals aren't throwing away the cans, other people who would be interested in that can do it. I will also say many European countries do this. And I mean, I particularly remember being in, I think it was Germany or Amsterdam, where a cost of a beer was €1 and you got 50 euro cents back for returning the can. So it was a big benefit.
Thank you.
And a good deal on beer. That was a good price.
Excellent price.
Commissioner Cava, we will put those in the minutes, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I saw the comment from Ms. Rogers. Commissioner Cava will send that presentation to you. Thank you so much. I have one other item before moving on to community comments and motion and votes. I spoke on behalf of 4D at before the DC Council, the Committee on Public Works, regarding trash pickup, regarding the composting program, just kind of collecting input from the commissioners and making sure that our voices and perspectives were heard, or especially around irregular trash pickup. I have in the public minutes included testimony that I gave, and I'm asking the commission to ratify that testimony so that it is officially on behalf of 4D. Any questions on that? And perhaps we have 5 minutes, so I'll just take one additional minute to say also that there was I did not give testimony on because we had not collaborated on this, was also kind of the question of parking enforcement, and you know, that also being under the guise of Department of Public Works is an opportunity for us to follow up with them too, and would invite the commissioners to kind of share their perspectives as well, and we can add that in additional opportunity to share perspectives with DPW later on. Okay. Want to move to community comments. I'd like to, given the hour, to limit them to 1 minute each, please. I will open the floor to folks on Zoom, folks in the room. Let's go to folks in Zoom first. If there's anybody in Zoom.
Yeah. Oh, put my hand.
Anderson. And then Ms. Stanton, I'll go to you.
So am I on now?
You are. Go ahead.
Oh, great. So good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Anderson. I am the project director for the Brightwood Family Success Center. I have my other team members here, and I quickly introduce them. We have Ayala and Gant, Shakira Gant, and Misty Ayala, who's a bilingual community outreach coordinator. So the Georgia Avenue Family Support Collaborative is starting a new initiative, which is called the Brightwood Family Success Center in the Brightwood cluster area. And our 2 main goals are, 1, to improve family well-being and improving community safety, because we believe that those are 2 key issues that we have had in Ward 4. And just to know that Georgia Avenue have served the Ward 4 area for over 25 years. And so I just wanted to introduce us today about the project that's coming on board, and also that we've met with a couple community representatives, community organization, ANC member. We had ANC Kava, we have ANC Representative Bruit, who's a part of our board. But we want to expand our outreach by connecting with the other 4D representatives. And so the way the cluster is set up, we overlap based on ANC zones or numbers. And so we're not sure who is that specific ANC member that responsible for the 12th Street area to which the center will be located. That's at 6203 12th Street. And so I am just want to use this opportunity again to introduce ourselves and to possibly, if we could walk away tonight, knowing who are our representatives so we could further our conversation with the ANC members. And so we have ANC D1, that's part of that cluster, and 3 and E1, but I know this is D. So I had Auntie as one of those persons, and if that person is here, yes, that's sure. We'd like to connect with you to talk some more about the Family Success Center and to get your buy-in into this process.
Commissioner Cosconrota is right there.
Yes.
And so, yes, 4D01, Commissioner Cosconrota, and can connect you via email. It's 4D01@anc.dc.gov.
Right, and we also going to put in the chat or flyer with all our contact information, the center's contact number, and all the staff numbers. So an email, and of course direct email and number for myself. And so as soon as I get connected to the ANC member, we will be happy to continue this conversation.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to move on to Ms. Stanton and then Uptown Main Street.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brittany Staten. I'm the program manager with the Ward 4 Violence Prevention Team. And I just wanted to introduce ourselves and the work that we will be doing in the Ward 4 community. I do have our lead violence interrupter that will be working in the Brightwood community where all you ANCs are listed. And he can just speak on a little bit of what he'll be doing and some groups that he'll be having this week. Mr. Mouse?
I don't see Mr. Miles, do you?
Yes.
Is Mr. Miles here? Ms. Stanton, do you want to continue?
I'm sorry, I had myself on mute. I just was texting Mr. Miles just to see if he was there. So they will be having group in the Brightwood community with the young guys that are 18 to 35 years old on that Kennedy Street, Kennedy and Georgia Avenue. I think they will be at Emory Rec on Friday from 5:30 to 7:30. Hello, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Sorry.
Okay, yes. And we have been doing a lot of community engagement, canvassing that area. I just wanted to make sure you knew exactly who your violence interrupter was in that area. And I will also list our contact information for you guys. And I would like to just schedule a meeting with you guys just to go over so you guys can have familiar faces and we can go over what critical incidents look like, or when an incident do happen, how do we respond? And some resources we do have for, the young men that are affected by gun violence from the ages 18 to 35.
Ms. Stanton, the work that you all do is incredible. Let's put you on a future agenda so that we can hear more from you and lift up the work. And would love to be in touch on that as well.
Okay. Thank you. And I'll drop my stuff in the chat now.
I appreciate it. Want to move to Uptown Main Street. I'm gonna start singing Uptown Girl if Uptown Main Street does not respond. Yeah, it has to be entered into the minutes. Okay, one,
Then you have
two,
your hand up.
three, okay. We are going to move on to motions and votes. The first motion, oh, can't unmute. Apologies. Let's see if we can do this for you. Yeah, are there any? Yeah. Thank you. We're trying to see if we can unmute you, Uptown Main Street. Give us 1 second.
I tried.
Okay.
I can't.
We can't unmute you manually. Do you want to try to rejoin and then you can say something at the end of our votes? Thumbs up? Hearing nothing, I'm going to assume that works for you.
They
Okay.
left, so yeah.
I hope you can rejoin. Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and move to motion and votes. And also, I see Uptown Main Street is typing in comments in the chat. That's great. Happy to read them aloud to folks here. So if you want to get your message out that way, and I apologize that you're not able to unmute. So we have 3 items for motions and votes on business before the commission. The first is letter of support regarding the notice of intent 2513 TPA. This is regarding the 5300 block of First Street Northwest proposed residential parking permit. This is the proposed letter of support that was circulated to the commissioners and is on our public agenda. I'd like to, is there any motion to? Motion?
So moved.
Okay. A second.
Second.
Okay. Let's roll call. That's you.
Yes. Commissioner Goskinuta?
Aye.
Commissioner Adele?
Aye.
Commissioner Blewett?
Aye.
Commissioner Kava? Commissioner
Morensic, aye.
Sorry. Commissioner Dimitrov? Aye. Commissioner Baker?
Aye.
Commissioner Kaufman?
Aye. Okay. The motion passes unanimously. The next item is regarding resolution on Bill B 260058. This is the Recycling Refund and Litter Reduction Amendment Act.
Good to vote.
I motion to vote.
Okay.
Is there a second? I hear a second. Roll call.
Commissioner Goskinuta?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Blewett? Commissioner Kawa? Commissioner Morensic?
Aye.
Commissioner Dimitrov? Aye. Commissioner Baker?
Aye.
Commissioner Kaufman?
Aye. The item passes unanimously. The third and final item is regarding testimony ratifying the testimony before ratifying the testimony before the Committee on Public Works. Is there a motion on the table? Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Goskinuta?
Aye.
Commissioner Abel?
Aye.
Commissioner Blewett? Commissioner Kawa? Commissioner Morensic?
Aye.
Commissioner Dimitrov? Yes. Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
And Commissioner Kaufman?
Aye. The third and final item passes unanimously. We're at the end of our agenda. There is the comments from Uptown Main Street for folks who want to read that. And the meeting is adjourned. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank
We'll
you.
leave
Everyone.
it for a little bit so folks can see the comments and copy the information they need.
Didn't we have to make a motion to adjourn?
I was told by Chris last time. We do not.
Oh, that's right. Well, thank you so much, everyone.
We got a very stern head shaking.
All right, take care, guys.
Thank you all.
You too.